真炼成之日，老夫要横扫联盟，让那混账中玄子死无葬身之地。
Yan Lazy would never have imagined, even in his wildest dreams, that the grand war of vengeance he had meticulously planned for thousands of years would ultimately be ruined by the red-furred monkey. Ancient god Tuo Sen. Yan Lazy was originally a native cultivator of the Alliance Star Domain, and one of the core members of the Cultivator, Alliance's Council of Elders. Back then, he deeply admired the talent of the Grand Elder Zhong Xuanzi. At the latter's enthusiastic invitation, he joined the Cultivator Alliance. But who could have expected that Zhong Xuanzi, utterly lacking in honor, would steal Yan Lazy's celestial cultivation partner while Yan Lazy was in seclusion, cultivating? Worse still, Zhong Xuanzi even ordered his complete execution. After narrowly surviving countless life and death situations, Yan Lazy finally escaped to the Luotian Star Domain. There he secretly swore a blood oath that one day he would invade the Cultivator Alliance, take Zhong Xuanzi's head, and avenge the humiliation of having his wife stolen. However, relying solely on his own strength, how could he possibly stand against such a colossal force? Fortunately, Yan Lazy still possessed one invaluable advantage: he had once been a core member of the Cultivator Alliance and knew the vast majority of its deepest secrets. When the ancient celestial realm was destroyed, the Cultivator Alliance had been the very first force to enter its ruins, obtaining countless heaven-defying divine abilities and priceless inheritances. For Lu Fuzi, the only cultivator in the Luotian Star Domain, whose cultivation had reached the Void Nirvana realm, those treasures were naturally irresistible. With Lu Fuzi's support and recognition, Yan Lazy established his own faction, the Thunder Immortal Hall. Throughout the Luotian Star Domain, he tirelessly searched for and nurtured talented young cultivators. Moreover, every Thunder Immortal envoy maintained close ties with one of the ancient clans. In other words, Yan Lazy had already gained the ability to rally nearly every major family in the Luotian Star Domain to fight under his command. To break through the barrier separating the two great star domains and further strengthen himself, he repeatedly ventured into the Thunder Immortal realm, refining fragments of its shattered continents. Later, using the secrets he possessed, he successfully persuaded Xianxia Immortal Lord, whose mastery of the extreme realm allowed him to far surpass ordinary cultivators at the peak of shattered nirvana, to join his camp. In the end, Yan Lazy used the wrath of the moon-gazing bone, together with the continental fragments, to shatter the barrier between the two domains, igniting a massive war that lasted for centuries. Strictly speaking, the Luotian Star Domain was fighting only the Cultivator Alliance, not the entire Alliance Star Domain. Within the Alliance Star Domain, there were three dominant factions: the Cultivator Alliance, the Kungsu Sacred Domain, and the Four Sacred Sects. Aside from the Cultivator Alliance, the other two powers had absolutely no interest in involving themselves in the conflict. So, just how powerful was the Cultivator Alliance? Its strongest experts were mostly cultivators at the peak of shattered nirvana. Even Zhong Xuanzi himself had only reached the Heaven Man Decline Tribulation, still falling short of the third step. However, that certainly did not mean the Luotian Star Domain could simply massacre its opponents without resistance. That was because Zhong Xuanzi's master, Long Pansy, was still alive. Although Long Pansy's cultivation had reached the Void Spirit Realm during the First Great War between the Inner Realm and the Outer Realm, he had exhausted nearly all of his remaining strength to preserve a final spark of hope for the cultivators of the Inner Realm. He protected the headquarters of the Cultivator Alliance and personally established an enormous defensive formation around it. Unless something of world-shaking importance occurred, he would never leave the Alliance headquarters. Throughout those centuries of warfare, the Luotian Star Domain repeatedly defeated the Cultivator Alliance's experts, conquered numerous cultivation planets, and seized control of the northern region of the Alliance Star Domain. Yet they never managed to discover the exact location of the Alliance headquarters. Even if they had found it, they still lacked the strength to break through its defenses. Later, the Corpse Yin sect, formerly subordinate to the Cultivator Alliance, declared its independence. As a result, the Alliance Star Domain gradually evolved into a five-way stalemate. The east belonged to the Corpse Yin sect, the south to the Kungshu Sacred Domain, the west to the Four Sacred Sects, the north to the cultivators of the Luotian Star Domain, while the central region remained under the control of the Cultivator Alliance. From the perspective of the cultivators of the Luotian star domain, this was already a tremendous victory. But for Yanlazi, it was anything but, because from beginning to end, he had never even caught sight of Zhong Xuanzi. Later, after Wang Lin advanced to the middle stage of pure nirvana and became the new vermilion bird Saint Emperor, he realized that less than 100 years remained before ancient god Tuo Sen would break free. So, Wang Lin deliberately spread the news that Vermilion Bird Planet contained the ancient god realm. His plan was to exploit every major faction's greed for the power of the ancient gods and use their combined strength to eliminate this looming threat once and for all. Unfortunately, Wang Lin still underestimated Tuo Sen's terrifying combat ability. During that battle, countless second-step cultivators perished. Wu Jizi, who stood only a single step away from the third step, became nothing more than nourishment for Tuo Sen's recovery. Among the 8 kings of the Corpse Yin sect, all of whom possessed shattered nirvana cultivation, only 2 managed to leave alive. Even Yanlazi himself nearly perished. Fortunately, Lu Fuzi arrived at the critical moment and successfully rescued him. Tuo Sen's assessment of them was brutally simple. They're all trash. As for the Corpse Yin sect, they earned an even lower evaluation, not even worthy of being called trash. After all, trash was still human. The Corpse Yin sect was merely a pile of corpses beneath even that standard. When Wang Lin saw that even the combined peak experts of both great star domains could do absolutely nothing against Tuo Sen, he immediately realized the consequences. If Tuo Sen ever escaped completely, who could possibly stop him? As for the Alliance star domain, whoever wants it can have it. I'm getting the hell out of here. Thus Wang Lin departed for the Cloud Sea star domain, seeking new opportunities and greater strength. Meanwhile, during the following century, the cultivators of the Luotian star domain remained completely unaware of the approaching catastrophe, continuing their endless stalemate against the Cultivator Alliance. Eventually, Tuo Sen, whose cultivation had fully recovered to the Void Spirit realm, officially broke free of his seal. Once he emerged, he simply beat down anyone he encountered. An elderly third-step cultivator from the Kungshu Sacred Domain died at his hands. The Azure Dragon, Saint Emperor, whose cultivation had reached the Heaven Man, declined tribulation, was beaten until his whereabouts became completely unknown. Countless cultivators, from both the Luotian star domain and the Alliance star domain, were slaughtered. In short, Tuo Sen attacked everyone indiscriminately. Whether he liked you or not, he punched first and asked no questions later. After all, while he had still been trapped within the ancient god realm, every one of these people had wanted to subdue him. Now that the real ancient god had emerged, why had they all suddenly fallen silent? Even Lu Fuzi was so terrified that he didn't dare show his face. He immediately fled back to the Luotian star domain. It was like 2 children fighting each other, when suddenly an adult walked over and slapped both of them so hard that they were left completely stunned. The 2 children could only run home crying for their mothers. Thus, the great war between the 2 star domains, a conflict that had lasted for centuries and had originally begun because of a single woman, came to an absurd and anticlimactic end. As for ancient god Tuo Sen, eager to hunt down Wang Lin, he departed for the outer realm. Yanlazi had calculated every possibility imaginable, yet he never accounted for the existence of such a terrifying monster hidden on Vermilion Bird Planet. It could only be said that Tuo Sen was simply too overwhelming. Did you really think that a man who remained virtually invincible for well over half of a novel spanning more than 2,000 chapters was merely a joke?